Not every car on the road is a smart buy. What if I told you some cars are so bad, even the dealerships practically beg people to take them? I'm breaking down 20 of the worst cars you could ever own. Vehicles with design flaws, engine failures, and electrical glitches, they almost seem cursed. These aren't just unpopular, they've become legends for worst reliability. I dug into consumer reports, owner reviews, reliability rankings, and resale data to bring you the list of automotive disasters. But don't be fooled, there's a reason nobody wants these cars. Let's dive in. 20. Fiat 500L, 2014 to 2016. Let's start with what many consider the worst of the worst. The Fiat 500L wasn't just unreliable, it was borderline undrivable. Consumer reports rated it nearly 30% below average in reliability, and for good reason. Owners complained about everything from buggy electronics to failing transmissions. Backup cameras didn't work, infotainment systems froze, and even the airbag wiring had defects that led to recalls. The transmission was especially infamous for its rough, jerky shifting, and in some cases, outright failure. Sales started at a modest 12,000 in 2014 and absolutely tanked from there. By 2018, dealerships were drowning in unsold inventory, some with over a 500-day supply. Fiat finally pulled the plug, but not before the 500L became a punchline for how not to do a car launch. Repairs weren't cheap either, $3,500 plus for transmission work and $1,200 for infotainment fixes. Safer alternative, Honda Fit or Toyota Yaris. 19. Jeep Cherokee KL, 2014. This Jeep had a lot going for it. Rugged styling, bold branding, and a fancy new 9-speed automatic transmission. But that transmission? A total disaster. Owners reported gear slipping, rough shifting, and mysterious software glitches. Some even experienced sudden loss of power at highway speeds. Jeep issued updates, recalls, and software patches, but the problems persisted. Infotainment systems glitched, Bluetooth wouldn't pair, and the SUV's reliability reputation never recovered. By the early 2000s and 20s, sales had plummeted, and in 2023, Jeep discontinued the Cherokee altogether. It's a cautionary tale of how one faulty component can wreck an entire model. Repairing that mess? Expect $4,000 to $6,000. Better choices? Subaru Forester or Mazda CX-5. 18. Ford Fiesta Power Shift, 2011 to 2016. This little Ford looked like a great subcompact deal until owners actually drove it. Ford's Power Shift dual clutch transmission was supposed to be cutting edge. Instead, it turned the Fiesta into one of the most complained about small cars of the decade. Shuddering, slipping, jerky acceleration, you name it. Owners were in and out of dealerships constantly for clutch and module replacements. Ford eventually extended warranties and settled lawsuits, but never issued a full recall. Add in door latches that could fly open while driving, and you've got a car people actively warned others not to buy. By 2019, Fiesta sales had collapsed, and Ford quietly killed it off in North America. Clutch and module replacements can rack up $3,000 plus. Safer bets, Hyundai Accent or Honda Civic. 17. Nissan Pathfinder, 2013. The Pathfinder once had a reputation as a reliable SUV, but the 2013 redesign changed that. Big time. The switch to a car-like crossover format also brought in a new CVT transmission that proved to be a nightmare. Owners complained about violent juddering, overheating, and complete transmission failures, often within the first few years. Nissan tried to patch the issues with service campaigns and extended warranties, but the damage was done. Other problems, like faulty liftgate struts and sunroofs that leaked, only made things worse. Sales plunged, and the Pathfinder didn't truly recover until years later after a major overhaul. Repair costs hover around $4,200 to $5,000. Alternatives? Toyota Highlander or Honda Pilot. 16. Mercedes-Benz CLA 250, 2014. You'd expect the cheapest Mercedes to come with some compromises, but this one went too far. The 2014 CLA 250 was supposed to bring luxury to the masses, but it quickly became the lowest-rated entry-level luxury car on the market. Build quality was subpar. Interior rattles, electrical bugs, and a harsh, noisy ride were common complaints. Then came the recalls for fuel leaks and faulty airbag sensors. Even though it started at under $30,000, the CLA couldn't hold its value. Buyers realized they weren't getting a true Mercedes experience, just the brand name and a long list of problems. Repair bills easily topped $2,500. Smarter picks? Acura ILX or Audi A3. 15. Chevrolet Cruz, 2011. Chevy really tried to compete with the Civic and Corolla with the first-gen Cruz, but reliability issues sank those plans. Models with the 1.4-liter turbo engine faced a laundry list of mechanical problems. Drivetrain failures, engine fires caused by coolant leaks, and even steering wheels that weren't installed properly from the factory. Owners also dealt with persistent check engine lights and faulty sensors. Despite strong fleet sales early on, public confidence dropped. GM ended the Cruz in 2019, not just because of changing trends, but because buyers were simply tired of the headaches. Repairs, $2,800 plus for engine fixes, $900 plus for water pumps. Look at Toyota Corolla or Mazda 3. 14. Dodge Dart, 2013. This was Chrysler's big comeback in the compact car game, and it flopped fast. The 1.4-liter turbo with dual-clutch transmission proved unreliable right out of the gate. Jerky shifting, computer glitches, oxygen sensor issues, you name it. The Dart also had brake booster problems and frequent engine stalls due to software errors. Sales were abysmal. Even with huge rebates, Dodge couldn't give them away. After just 4 years on the market, the Dart was quietly discontinued, leaving behind a legacy of unreliability and disappointment. Repairs can stack up to $3,500. Solid options, Kia Forte or Subaru Impreza. 13. Jeep Grand Cherokee EcoDiesel, 2014. The EcoDiesel version of the Grand Cherokee seemed promising. Great fuel economy, rugged looks, but it didn't take long for it to fall apart. These SUVs were riddled with emission system failures. Diesel exhaust fluid errors, clogged EGR valves, and check engine lights were constant companions. Then came the emissions scandal. Yes, another one, and a stop sale order that crushed any remaining hope for the model. There were also recalls for alternator fires and ignition switch issues. In the end, even Jeep loyalists turned their backs, and the EcoDiesel quietly disappeared from the lineup. Average repair cost? Over $5,000. Reliable rivals? Toyota 4Runner or Ford Edge. 12. Infiniti Q50, 2014. Infiniti's Q50 was supposed to carry the torch from the beloved G37. Instead, it tripped over its own tech. The drive-by-wire steering system sounded innovative, until it randomly shut off and had to revert to backup mechanical control. That's not just annoying, it's scary. Infotainment screens froze, navigation failed, and expensive run-flat tires wore out fast. Though it sold decently at launch, the Q50 never matched the G-Series' success. Between the tech headaches and poor resale value, luxury buyers started looking elsewhere, mainly toward Lexus or Acura. Fixes can run $1,200 to $2,500. Better bet, Acura TLX. 11. Mercedes-Benz S-Class W222, 2014. Yes, even Mercedes' flagship model had its off years. The 2014 S-Class came packed with advanced features, but that's exactly what made it vulnerable. Air suspension systems leaked or failed. The fancy magic body control wasn't very magical when it stopped working. Doors that closed themselves? Not when the sensors glitched. Owners also faced bugs in driver assist features, seat controls, and infotainment systems. There were multiple recalls, seatbelt pretensioners, software failures, and more. Even though S-Class buyers expect cutting-edge tech, they don't expect to spend so much time at the dealership. And for the 2014 model, that's exactly what happened. Repairs for suspension and tech bugs, $3,500 to $6,000 plus. Safer pick, Lexus LS or BMW 7 Series. 10. Chrysler 200, 2015. This car had big ambitions. Chrysler threw everything into the redesigned 200, new styling, a fancy 9-speed automatic transmission, and a major marketing push. But it didn't take long for things to unravel. The transmission became the biggest red flag. Owners reported abrupt gear changes, delayed shifting, and a tendency to slip into neutral out of nowhere. Some needed full replacements within the first year. Then came the electrical issues, cars shutting off mid-drive, infotainment freezing, and declining interior quality. Sales nosedived from nearly 180,000 in 2015 to under 20,000 just 2 years later. Even the CEO at the time publicly admitted the car was a failure. Ouch! Fixes run $3,800 plus. Smart swap, Hyundai Sonata or Mazda 6. 9. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid 2017. This one had a lot going for it. Innovative design, plug-in capability, and serious fuel savings. But the hybrid Pacifica became a reliability nightmare wrapped in a minivan shell. Owners dealt with electrical system failures, charging issues, and even stalling on the highway. Transmission control modules would glitch out, and some models couldn't charge properly at all. But here's the kicker: multiple recalls for fire risk, battery overheating, and auxiliary heater problems forced Chrysler to issue warnings to park the van outside just in case it caught fire. Combine that with long repair wait times due to part shortages, and many families just went straight to Honda or Toyota. Hybrid repairs range $6,000 to $8,000. Go with Toyota Sienna Hybrid or Honda Odyssey. 8. Dodge Journey, 2009 to 2019. The Dodge Journey is the automotive version of a forgotten app, outdated, buggy, and somehow still around way too long. It launched in 2009 and barely changed for a full decade. Early models were plagued by underpowered engines, weak brakes, failing rear AC units, and constant electrical gremlins. Interior lights would flicker, alarms would go haywire, and the base engine couldn't get out of its own way. Most sales came from rental fleets, not real buyers. Consumers steered clear, and by the end, Dodge had no choice but to kill it off. The Journey stuck around far too long, becoming a symbol of just how bad complacency can get in the auto world. Fixes often hit $3,000 plus. Better choice: Chevy Equinox or Ford Edge. 7. Nissan Titan XD, 2006. Nissan thought they could take on the American truck giants with the Titan XD, especially the diesel version powered by a Cummins engine. What they got instead was a mess. Owners ran into fuel system failures, turbocharger problems, and drivetrain vibrations that made towing risky. Even basic things like parking sensors malfunctioned, headlights fogged up, and differentials whined like a teenager stuck in traffic. To make matters worse, the Titan XD didn't quite fit into the half-ton or heavy-duty segment. It was stuck in the middle, confusing buyers. Sales dropped fast, and Nissan finally threw in the towel, discontinuing the Titan entirely in 2024. Expect $4,500 to $7,000 in repairs. Alternative: Ford F-150 or Ram 1500. 6. Jaguar FPace, 2017. Jaguar's first SUV had the looks and the luxury, but not the reliability. The 2017 FPace won over reviewers at first, but then the check engine light started coming. Infotainment systems froze. The instrument cluster would randomly shut off. Bluetooth wouldn't connect. Some drivers had sunroofs that leaked and fuel lines that dripped dangerously. Yes, it was fast and stylish, but buyers soon learned that Jaguar and dependable don't always go hand in hand. Despite being the brand's top global seller, US sales lagged behind because of, yep, you guessed it, poor reliability scores. Common repairs, $2,000 plus. Try instead Porsche Macan or BMW X3. 5. Alfa Romeo Giulia, 2017. The Giulia was Alfa Romeo's big comeback to the US sedan market. Gorgeous to look at, thrilling to drive, but built like a prototype that skipped testing. Electrical problems dominated the owner's complaints. Random warning lights, frozen infotainment, and DNA mode selector malfunctions were common. Some cars had engine misfires or leaky seals after just a few months. Even worse, build quality. Misaligned body panels, rattling trim, and failing interior pieces made it feel more like a beta version than a production vehicle. Sales never took off, and despite the performance credentials, most buyers stuck with the tried and true BMWs and Audis. Fixes can hit $4,000. Smart choice: Genesis G70 or Lexus IS. 4. Alfa Romeo Stelvio, 2018. If the Giulia was a warning, the Stelvio doubled down. This was Alfa's answer to the luxury SUV craze, but it came with all the same issues. Remote start didn't work half the time, backup cameras glitched, climate control stopped blowing heat in winter due to failed blend motors. And let's not forget about the oil leaks and braking system quirks. Despite its Ferrari-ish styling and sporty drive, most customers simply didn't trust it. Alfa's limited dealership network didn't help either, and the Stelvio quickly became a vehicle for die-hard enthusiasts only, those who knew what they were getting into and didn't mind. Repair costs averaged $2,500 to $4,500. Try Volvo XC90 or BMW X3. 3. Tesla Model X, 2016. Tesla's Model X was a tech marvel with falcon wing doors and a huge touchscreen that felt like something from the future. But in real-world driving, those futuristic touches became headaches. The falcon wing doors often misread obstacles and refused to close properly. Panoramic windshields developed air leaks and stress cracks. Build quality was hit or miss. Rattling trim, wind noise, and misaligned body panels were reported constantly. To make matters worse, the central screen would freeze or crash entirely, affecting everything from climate controls to navigation. Despite the hype, consumer reports refused to recommend it and word quickly spread. This was a luxury EV best admired from afar. Expect $1,800 plus for doors, $2,500 plus for screen fixes. Solid EVs, Rivian R1S or BMW iX. 2. Volvo XC90, 2016. The 2016 redesign of the XC90 was a home run in design and a strikeout in reliability. Volvo's new Sensus infotainment system was gorgeous, but it froze constantly. Touch controls would lag, black out, or randomly reboot. Owners also reported tailgates that opened on their own, malfunctioning sensors, premature brake wear, and suspension noise. Airbag issues and radar misalignment in safety systems triggered multiple recalls. Despite strong early sales, buyer confidence faded fast. With a consumer report score of just 22 out of 100, the XC90 became the SUV people wanted to love but couldn't count on. Common costs: $3,000 to $5,000. Reliable option: Acura MDX or Lexus RX. 1. Cadillac Escalade, 2015. Now the luxury SUV food chain, the Escalade was supposed to be flawless. The 2015 redesign aimed for the stars but landed in the shop. Buyers were hit with failed magnetic suspensions, glitchy infotainment, CUE system, transmission problems, and stalling engines due to faulty fuel pump modules. Even power steps and cameras stopped working on some builds. The Escalade usually sells around 30,000 units a year, but the 2015 model earned a reputation fast. Many buyers skipped straight to the GMC Yukon Denali, cheaper and less problematic. The advice: avoid early build Escalades became gospel in luxury circles. Typical bill: $3,500 to $6,500. Safer bets: GMC Yukon Denali or Lincoln Navigator. There you have it, 20 of the worst cars in recent memory. They looked good on paper, but they fell apart when it really mattered. Let this list be a reminder: flashy doesn't always mean dependable. If you'd rather see the cars that actually last 300,000 miles, stick around. Next up, 30 most reliable used cars that last forever. Don't miss it. Which of these cars have you seen in your neighborhood or maybe even owned yourself? Drop your story in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more brutally honest car breakdowns. You deserve better than these rolling regrets.